Are you thinking of going into partnership? Are you going to start a new business? I'm here today to talk to Gary and Darren at Planet Leasing, who went into partnership over 7 years ago, and still going strong. Darren, Gary, what do you do here at Planet Leasing?
We source and finance vehicles for private individuals and businesses. Anyone between 1 and 50 vehicles is our core market.
Great. Now I know that you started 7 years ago, just the two of you, from an idea. Where did the idea come about?
I've been involved in the motor trade now for over 21 years, and I was a bit fed up with the politics that was going on within the motor trade, only being able to supply single products, working for one manufacturer, and I decided to become a broker because I knew there were people in this industry and I knew I could do a better job. And so I enlisted the help of my co-director Gary, who was in a separate business, and we started Planet Leasing in 2007.
So prior to 2007 you were doing something completely different, Gary?
I personally, yes. Yeah, I was running my own commercial cleaning company, and also I was building a portfolio of buy-to-let properties.
I see, right.
I was approached by Darren, who, as he mentioned earlier, he was basically having to work twice as hard to stay still. He thought he'd like to do something for himself. Maybe he didn't want to take on the burden of the responsibility of owning and running his own business. I think he felt he wanted to share maybe the financial liabilities and also the responsibilities that go with running a business. We had the conversation, we agreed to do what we set out to do, and we've achieved that.
So tell me, what were some of the early challenges? You haven't worked before, you were two people doing separate things. Darren approached you to start this business, and when you start any partnerships there's going to be challenges. Were there any, did you have like any discussions about how you want to run the business? What were some of the things that you talked about?
Well, I think taking on a partner, you have to look at the benefits in taking on a partner, and also fundamentally whether you can trust that person. I've known Darren since school really, so I've always known the sort of character he is, a hard-working guy, very committed, dedicated, obviously with a view to succeeding. So I thought, well, he'd be a great partnership for me, and hopefully he thought the same.
Yeah. So Dan, when you came up with the idea, you thought of Gary straight away. You know, why didn't you do it on your own? Why did you go to?
I've been thinking about doing various things that weren't related to the car industry, but then I realised that after having been in the industry so long, it would make sense to continue with my expertise.
Okay.
But I'd never run a business before. But I knew Gary had run a business and liked earning money, which is always a good thing when you want to start a business.
Yeah.
So I knew Gary wanted to start a new challenge because his existing business was kind of running itself almost.
Okay.
So we decided to start the partnership.
So when you started the business, what did you have? What was it? You know, did you get big offices? Did you get employees to staff? How was it?
I think what we decided to do was keep our costs as low as possible. So we found a very small unit above a supermarket that had closed down. We negotiated quite hard on the rent. It worked out something like £35 a week, including lighting and heating and water. So it basically meant that we didn't really have to work for the landlord.
Right.
We signed an easy in, easy out type contract, and within, I think it was about 2 years, we had outgrown that business. There was Darren and I plus 3 then, so the 5 of us then moved to our second branch.
Right. Okay. So within 3 years, you grown so much you had to move to a bigger.
Within
premises.
2 years, we went from 2 to 5.
Okay.
So we went to our second premises. We grew there from 5 to 8. The 8th person was working off of a child's desk with a laptop because physically there wasn't enough room. And then we thought we need to scale up, and we decided to come here. There was 8 of us that joined us here, and this business here has grown since, and there's now 15 staff just at this one branch.
Wow.
And we are busting at the seams.
So after the initial enthusiasm and you sort of, you enjoy the ride the first 2-3 years and you moved, what were some of the early challenges you came across?
Maintaining staff, as things grow, keeping staff happy, making sure staff are obviously doing what they're supposed to be doing, and obviously ultimately earning money because that's what they're here to do.
Yeah.
Being able to grow the administration side of the business to keep the customers happy. The more business that you do in this industry, the harder it becomes because you've got more challenges, more vehicles to be delivered. So that everything's a challenge. You just got to keep on top of it, basically.
You mentioned about the early enthusiasm.
Yeah.
That enthusiasm has never left us. We are more enthusiastic today about our business than we were when we started the business, and I think it's our enthusiasm, our focus and our drive that's made us the directors of a successful business with some very, very big plans for the future.
So why do you think that's stayed with you? Because I see a lot of businesses where the initial enthusiasm is there, and then stuff happens, and 2-3 years down the ride, and they just get in the routine of doing the thing and forget the reason. Why do you think your enthusiasm has been there?
Because they quite often, a lot of businesses just carry on doing what they're doing. They don't look at new challenges or try and change what they're doing. You've always got to change with the times and change with the environment and the market, and that's what we've done.
Right.
And we've always taken advice. We've always looked at trying to grow the business in a sustainable way. We've taken advantage of government schemes that a lot of businesses don't. The apprenticeship scheme has been fantastic for us. We've been able to take on local young people, nurture them and turn them into full-time staff without necessarily massive costs from recruitment agencies. Some businesses spend too much money, don't leave any money in reserve to grow the business, and it all ends up like a pack of cars.
We're also very cost sensitive, so we don't spend money unnecessarily. We spend the right amount of money if we feel that we're going to get a return on our investment. But the enthusiasm for the business, we're always looking to push the business forward. So today we opened the doors at 8:30. When we shut the doors at 6 o'clock tonight, something in the business would have changed. It would have nudged itself slightly forward from where it was to begin with, and that's what we've done every single day. Given the opportunity, we'll always try and improve and add more value to our clients.
So over the last 7 years, what have you learned about yourselves?
I learned that I spent an awful long time working for people that didn't appreciate what I did. So working for yourself, the harder the more input you put in, the more you get back, and you're kind of more accountable to yourself and your business partner and your staff. So it's a different type of accountability. But you do get a little bit more freedom as well, which is nice.
For me, I've been self-employed since 1989. I've always been in complete control of my own destiny. What I've learned is that, having a partner, I wasn't sure whether I could deal with that. Having to not necessarily be answerable to, but someone I need to share ideas with and maybe not make a decision in their absence. But I found being in partnership, it's two heads are better than one. And I might have an idea and Darren goes, that's a great idea, but how about this spin? And you think, wow, that's even better, and vice versa. And we both, I think, as we've progressed and the business has evolved, we both understand what we want. We've both got the same goal. There are situations where I say to Darren, you make the decision, don't ask me. If it's the right decision, happy days. If it's the wrong decision, you can be accountable for that, and the same goes for me. So we're trying to split our roles as the business develops.
You sort of alluded to this before, but if people are watching this, they're thinking about trying to find a business partner, what do you think they need to look for in a business partner?
Someone that's solvent, it's always a good start.
Right.
Someone that can get up in the morning, every morning, and present themselves correctly.
I think a decent track record of hard work is always a good way to look.
The fact that you were mates before, through school and stuff, do you think that helped from your point of view? Not everybody's got.
Yeah, it's good to know something. I think if you just went in blind with someone that you don't really know that well, a lot of people find things out about people, and things they find out they don't necessarily like, do they? And that's what can cause a lot of problems.
We come from very similar backgrounds. We come from a particular area where people were like-minded. His parents come from the same background as my parents, so we haven't come from privileged backgrounds. We understand the value in working hard and the rewards that will come as a result.
Great. So a lot of the key lessons there is probably find someone that's very similar to you but with different skills. Something you can trust, and quite something that someone's willing to wake up in the morning and do the graft.
Absolutely, because you don't want to feel as if the relationship is unbalanced. So you don't want to feel, well, I'm doing 50 hours a week and he's only doing 40. He might do 60 hours the following week, but you just need to keep it balanced. You don't want to feel compromised by your partner. And I think the commitment and the effort that Darren and I put into the business is equal.
Great, so tell me about the business itself, your vehicle brokers. What's the core service you offer?
Sourcing vehicles for people and saving people money.
Right.
Basically what we do, we have vehicles on a wholesale cost, and we pass those savings on to individuals and businesses.
Right.
So if they walk into a showroom and look at a particular vehicle, we can normally do that vehicle cheaper because we don't have the same overheads, and we've also got funding options that the main dealers don't have.
But yours is a classic example of looking at a market and sort of seeing there's a need there, because everybody's been buying vehicles for...
There's clearly a requirement for what we do, but just going back to Darren's question you asked Darren, it's like when you go into a supermarket and buy a bottle of water, it'll cost you £1. If you buy a 6-pack, they work out less than £1, so you're basically getting more for less. So what we do, we offer that back to the client. You know, although they only want one vehicle, we're buying a multi-pack of those vehicles, so they actually benefit from our kind of wholesale rates, but they're only committing to one vehicle.
I see.
And we're always adding value, and as Darren says, we haven't got the expense of running or working from a £3 million glass showroom that has lots of staff that don't necessarily bring in money, and as a result they have to be paid, the margin has to be retained within a particular vehicle, and as a result the customer pays X, but coming to us they'll pay less than X, but they also get a better service.
So a lot of people, we look at the start business and thinking, I want to find an angle in a market, you know, and they sometimes think, well, if it's such a good angle, someone must have thought about it already. You know, I can't be the first one. But you seems like you know the marketplace, you found an angle, but I know there's other vehicle brokers but not done as well. What do you think your uniqueness is in terms of making this business success?
Well, we operate from premises that are open to the public, which is quite different to a lot of our competitors. That is a difference, but it doesn't necessarily make the business that different. It's treating customers fairly, looking after people, and looking for different opportunities and ways to market the business, rather than just waiting for things to happen. A lot of our competitors rely solely on the internet to get their business. We do a lot of face-to-face marketing, networking, that type of thing.
We also made a decision, you know, you've got one mouth and two ears, there's only so many people we can talk to. I mean, you can talk to two people at the same time. It got to a point, you know, rather than set a limit on what we can actually do, let's try and teach people and train people to do what we do. And we've taken on some staff in the past that haven't made the grade, and as a result they're no longer here. Then we decided to up the game a bit and invest in staff that have financial commitments, have to earn money. If they haven't already been in the industry, they can be adapted to what we do, and that's what we're now doing, investing in people that can add value, and as a result the whole business has grown. Those people are now managing their own accounts. We're just overlooking those accounts to making sure that it's actually being conducted correctly. And you'll get to a point where, I mean, me personally, I haven't spoken to a customer for 8 months now. I took the decision to step out of the business and look at what's going on in the business. Darren still does, he's still involved in the business, but he's also looking what's going on, and it's just having that, taking the move, which is a brave move, to say, well, I'm actually going to cut off my income, or the income into the company, and I'm going to work on and help other people increase the income, and that's that was quite challenging, but more so rewarding now.
So there's a key learning there when you're growing the businesses, you've got to start letting go of things that you might ultimately be doing.
It's hard
from day one.
because it's the baby, it's your baby. You're used to holding this baby and feeding it, nurturing it, and then you're kind of giving it to somebody else. You still watch them to make sure that they're keeping an eye on things.
Right. Well, that's some great insights there. You give us a good background about how you've grown your business, also some of the challenges you came across being partners, and I think there's a lot of people who are looking to start a business that can relate to that and think, you know, some good learning. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your time, Aaron.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.